chain. He said one chain, one shot, but it priced out the whole damn lot. You call Litecoin a testnet toy, but it's moving value while you deploy. Maxi said no out will last, now they chase me in coins for a bag to stash. Call me a scam, but who's really clean? You talk cypherpunk, now you're mainstream. Not about truth, it's about the brand. Your hero's rich, but don't understand. This ain't about blocks or a white paper quote, it's about who's still clearing the boat. Maxi's lie, we verified. Took the orange, then petrified. Said freedom money, what a joke. You beg Wall Street for the yoke. Maxi's lie, can't deny. The block space broken, so did pride. We're still here.
Hey, what's up, Rob? How's it going, sir? Number one, yeah, I didn't announce this yet. I'm gonna post it on X real quick. Hey, what's up, Rob? Whoops. I meant to just click on that. Rob, lower, higher. I don't know. We're in a weird spot. Hopefully, Litecoin can finally like get a breakout move against everything else falling here. Oh, it looks good to me against almost everything. Just need an impulsive move higher. So yeah, we're like in no man's land, sideways Boringville until, I don't know, CMF on the 1 hour time frame looks pretty bullish, finally. Not on the short term time frames though. Funding rates and all this short term data doesn't look bad. I wonder what Bitfinex shorts and longs are at, because they've been decently accurate. They're pretty low. I mean, literally only 500 contracts short. Longs are moving higher. This ETF stuff's so confusing now. There's like a freaking million ETFs. There's like S&P plus Bitcoin ETFs. I think those are silly. What's up, Justin? I think Trump is Satoshi. The most hilarious thing ever. Did I post it? I don't even know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. Like when it's a better Zcash. Honestly, the narratives, it's not like Zcash suddenly massively improved, or maybe it did, but it's not like people are actually using it. Just was an opportune moment to pump. Now it finally has attention and people buy in after the initial move higher. So who knows, maybe this can continue, but it's almost, this would be like Litecoin at 185 right now, equivalent, like 185 to 220. Two bets in place, 1K each. That Litecoin hits all-time highs here. I think your odds are pretty good. Dude, we just need one breakout candle like Zcash got. I know it hasn't happened in like 10 years. But this type of structure is extremely bullish. This is exactly what happened in 2013. Like constant rejection at this horizontal resistance. And we're doing the same thing. Well, let's see. Yeah, if Bitcoin, I don't know. This looks messy. My initial move target is 2 to 4K. If I had to, I hate price targets because like 99% of them are wrong. But assuming Litecoin finally gets a breakout move, we go to at least 2K. Just imagine, like, people are looking into the Zcash narrative now and talking about it. It's getting a lot of discussion on, at least on X, not mainstream, but people are looking into it. That's what happens. It's just the narrative for Litecoin can be so much stronger once we get a move like that. That's what I've been saying. It's like, I was hoping this stream would do a little bit better. Well, we don't really know because we haven't gotten the move yet. But I know if enough people hear the reality of Litecoin being the second Bitcoin chain, that can spread pretty fast by word of mouth. I don't know. That's what I was saying, Ceiling Fan, before. I think we talked about this. I was like, yeah, maybe selling and buying Litecoin here and just waiting, but the other thing would just be, who knows how long this can run. It broke out, like retested here, and now it's continuing this. If I was holding it, I might just keep it. Right. It's like, this is similar to XRP. And who knows, right? It's so speculative. From a long-term perspective, the only thing out of Litecoin that I'd be bullish on are privacy coins, but it's so speculative to say it'll even get adopted when it was declining for
You thought scarcity would save you,
8 years. Litecoin's the inverse.
is a prison.
You got the, oh, it gives you notification on Discord, Andrew? I didn't even know. Oh, sweet. Thanks, Robbie. Okay, Robbie posted it. Nice. Yeah, I don't know why the YouTube notifications don't work, but it's kind of annoying. Maybe YouTube hates me. Seriously, if we have the attention that Zcash gets, and hopefully we can, I don't know if this music is actually appealing broadly, but I think some of the EDM stuff can work. We need to bring in the normie crowd that can just be, you know, outside of crypto, but see the angle against Bitcoin maximalism and taking it over and seeing the opportunity. Kind of like the GME crowd. Like, none of them came, they all came from outside. They weren't like stock picking, right? It just went mainstream culturally. And that's what I was hoping would happen here. I have a bunch of stuff to release once we finally get the breakout candle, but I think if it works the way I intend, I know we only have like, what, 30 viewers on average, but I also know that Google search trends for Litecoin are at like decade lows, and I know people will look for explanations. And if I'm just live at the right time with potentially stuff that can emotionally resonate, people can just buy into the one of the broader narratives, taking down Sailor, taking down maximalism, or the underdog story, or just the hype from some of the music, if it works. I wish I could skip the first song. But attention in this meme market is kind of everything, right? It drives liquidity. You just need to be able to capture attention and retain it. Yeah, it could go nuclear. That's the thing, it's like, that's what Shan Master learned from Dogecoin. Like, he sold his Dogecoin after that initial pump. He would have made like $20 million or something. He sold after the pump, I think in January, and then it just ripped. But that can happen to Litecoin too. That's what I think is going to happen to Litecoin. But if he sold because you told him to do something, he didn't have much conviction. And I wonder how he even heard about it. What's up, Wendell? How you doing, sir? Good to see you. Been a while. We're gonna kick back the 24/7 streams if we and start them again if we can ever fucking bust out of here. Loving life and Litecoin as always. Hell yeah. Like the attitude is perfect. Well, maybe we can break out of this. It's not a very strong move off the lows. Oh, struggling here with this 120 resistance. 119, 120. Like support turned resistance. You guys think this stuff, this what the heck? I don't want to grab this. Do you think this EDM stuff can be mass appealing if Litecoin's pumping? It's so hard to know when I was making all of it. I had nobody to test it against. Like some things that you may think are good, other people just hate. What up, Dewey? Let's send it. Yes. You got some Litecoin from the wheel spinning. I think I remember that. Yeah. I'm hoping this meme can just spread. Litecoin just needs to pull a Zcash move, and we can sustain the momentum. Good old days. Yeah. Well, I think we have much better days ahead. A move that Litecoin has not seen ever, probably. Closest parallel is 2013. You like the funk song? Which one? There's quite a few. I don't know which ones I showed. At all-time high, you'll donate 1 Litecoin to the wheel. I might do Litecoin giveaways. I think that would help drive engagement. Actually, also I kind of hate the people that do giveaways though, so. What's the price? It just reminds me of that Bill Pulte guy that was always farming engagement with giveaways. People didn't even care about what he was saying. It was just. I still have the To the Moon song. It's on my page. Like if you search my YouTube. I could put it into OBS. It's here. Is your cost based on a free Litecoin? I think it's whatever price you receive it as. Like if it's a gift or like from a game, whatever the current market price is that day when you receive it as in your possession. On bounce volume looks good on these short-term time frames. Forming some divergence here after this, you know, continual bearish divergence. This is a lot of pressure. Oh yeah, I wish you had records. Yeah, it's so hard. I feel like money shouldn't even, it's dumb. It shouldn't even be taxed. It will though. It'll probably get worse. Well, at least Litecoin's rallying against XRP. XRP is gonna break the lows here. At least 6% lower. Maybe to this 2021 high. Would be nice for Litecoin to rip while XRP dumps. You're finalizing your taxes. Yeah, I need to do that too. Right. I gotta go grab my food in a sec. Well, Bitcoin looks like it's gonna break down here. It's probably gonna break these lows. What's the next area? Probably like 120 down to 117. HBAR's like the other coin that's gonna get an ETF here soon. How is that doing? Really terrible. This thing looks like it's gonna form some type of descending triangle, even if it gets an ETF. It's pretty bearish. What's up? This song sucks. Damn. I thought the song was pretty good. Is the high end for what? I don't think so. It seems like bearish sentiment returns really fast on every red candle. To me, that says the high is nowhere close to end. Oh yeah, where's Jeff? Did he send you your Litecoin? That's why you showed up. Maybe he won't ever come back. Oh, do I think the high for Bitcoin's in? No. I know Master thinks that, but I don't think so. This is one of the strongest moves off the lows Bitcoin has had. It reminds me of this. I actually think it's got a lot higher to go, but it's not like multiple hundreds of percent, but you know, 50, 100% from here. Alright, let's play this instead. Why is it?
Where'd he go? Wasn't he done? It died, bro. It's over. Wait.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand the... He thinks Litecoin's... I think he thinks Litecoin's gonna suck liquidity. I mean, if it does get a higher time frame breakout, kind of like Zcash, then I can see how momentum would be sustained. But I think the strongest case for Litecoin is if we have a blow off in Bitcoin, because to me that puts the odds of Litecoin passing Bitcoin in daily users is extremely high, and then potentially getting these higher value transactions migrated over. And then the narrative's kind of undeniable when it's rallying, so I think you can attract a lot of speculative attention, and people finally listen outside the realms of maximalism, influencer networks. So, yeah, I think the odds of Litecoin just rallying massively with Bitcoin sitting here, it's hard for me to see that, because I think you need a catalyst to break the dominant narrative, just like you saw with ETH in 2021, right? It had like 90% dominance until fees were super high. Bitcoin has 96% dominance over other proof of work coins. And you can see how fast these tiny proof of work coins can rally with Zcash. Zcash rally is way more convincing than the Dash one though. I don't know, there's so many ETFs now.
They said I was a clone.
There's like gonna be hundreds.
A copy without a crown. But I got the same bones.
So
Just no one wrote me down. Still here.
we need to rally into the ETF launch, because that'll attract a lot of the money that is outside of the crypto world, but inside traditional finance, to move over and buy the narrative. So that's the way I see it. Litecoin can do really well with the older demographics that avoided crypto. Can we try making a song called Lower? Yeah, what style do you think? Because it can't be like this same style. It has to be something sad or just memey, something that sounds terrible. Oh yeah, even it doesn't take much money to move Litecoin, especially given the time. It's like time results in lower liquidity, and then just relative market cap size is the other multiplier. Right, because there's a lot of money in crypto, but there's almost no attention on Litecoin. So yeah, I think I don't think that's gonna. I wouldn't be that bullish if I thought Bitcoin had topped. So well, we need like demand side liquidity. That either comes from fundamental transaction migration, which I know is a meme, but I know there's enough volume there daily, and I know generally these networks are priced like around 100 times what they move on chain a day. It's moved 1.5%, so close to that. It doesn't take that much. I think we either need that or you need some speculative demand catalyst, like solid ETF flows, and then you can get reflexive momentum. But it's Litecoin has historically never moved without Bitcoin moving. The only way it does that is if there's some fundamental demand catalyst, and I don't see how Bitcoin fees are the only fundamental demand catalyst that's ever happened. It would have to be the privacy layer, like getting adopted, or some random country adopting it. But it can happen. I mean, anything is possible in this market. Just probability wise, if Bitcoin's topped and starts moving down aggressively, it's gonna be really hard to attract any money into crypto. This game is all reflexive hype, and I think the higher Bitcoin goes, the more bullish it is for Litecoin, both fundamentally and just from how much money can rotate out of Bitcoin. The chances of momentum are super high in altcoins when Bitcoin has these crazy parabolic runs. People just have money to throw away, and so they gamble it, cycle it through altcoins. Getting close to the apex here against Cardano. Didn't Binance publish their proof of reserves recently? Let's see what their Litecoin holdings are. So they actually hold way higher than 100%. I mean, this is one of the highest ratios they have, so maybe Binance themselves are bullish on Litecoin. Right, Bitcoin they hold 103%, so they have like a 3.5% buffer. USDT, way more than customer balances. But they actually have more reserves of Litecoin than their own token. It's kind of crazy. That's like the highest. Maybe that's bullish. Maybe Binance is gonna pump. They just pumped BNB. Or it pumped organically, I don't know. But That's interesting. I wonder if you backcheck this data if they've ever increased their allocation before major moves in price. Because I remember checking this before and it was never this high. It was always like 100%. Nick, you want to come on here? I gotta go grab something real quick. I'll be right back. Nice. LTC is looking good here against everything else. 31 of us? Good, Litecoin Lester, how are you doing? Yeah, I don't know. I never heard of Christopher Green. But he has the same name as, and he looks so much similar to this, like, guy. It's like young teacher I had. It's funny. Chris Green. Yeah, I noticed he has a big following, and he speaks really well. His Twitter posts are funny. He like speaks in all caps and exclamations. But like if you actually listen to him, seems like a smart dude. Reminds me of like Owen Wilson. He looks like him a little bit. Same haircut. Alright, Nick's gonna come on here. Like, give me a sec, because I gotta go grab my... I gotta go grab something. I'll be back in like 5 minutes. BRB, guys. In 5.
check the price, then check again. Too late now, they still hold you down.
You hit sell, thought you were slick, caught a pump but missed the kick. While it's still on chain untouched, while you scroll charts feeling crushed. They haunt you, 20 coins back then, not worth enough to buy a Benz, but you needed rent, some shoes, a thrill.
And now that wallet's laughing still.
Ghost wallets floating free, held the you're back, like nothing's gone. You had your chance. You had your shot. You changed your mind. I did not. You had your chance. You made your play. I stayed the course. You walked away. You had your chance. Sorry, not sorry. We won. You chose. We stayed. You smoked. You flipped. We froze. You ran. We rose. This ain't revenge. This ain't spite. It's just you didn't believe till it looked right. You had your chance. You saw the signs, now you want it. After the climb, you had your chance. It's plain to see. You chose the noise, I chose belief. You had your chance. Sorry, not sorry. We don't forget. We just move forward. You had your chance. Sorry, not sorry.
They said, Ghost Chain, mid, still alive. Nah, you just couldn't stand alone. Didn't trend, I must be dead. Didn't moon, I lost the thread. Y'all follow charts like prophets. I watched the prophet leave instead. Let the hype rot, let the bags fill. You were max confident, I was max still. Y'all have to fit in, didn't know I just felt right. Mocked by pace, my name, my face, while I'm after the pain point price. Didn't need spotlight, didn't chase clout. Just waited till the noise got loud. Then pulled the power when the lights went out. I let them cook, then I cooked them. 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 I let them cook, then I cooked them.
Oh, I had my mic muted. Whoops. Nick will be here in a second.
When I whispered truth, they only heard defeat, so I said nothing. Let the doubt bloom. Waited till they all agreed, then I cleared the room.
1 second. Nicholas is coming. The regular friend. The usual friend that we have here. The short-term trading phenom.
Mean, forgotten. Said I was too slow, too old, too cheap to chase. But time moves
I'm gonna
different
remove
when you're
this. And just wait until he gets here. How's MicroStrategy doing now? Not so great. Like, one's in a habit of going sideways in these, like, bottoming structures. Yeah, Master. Thank you. Make sure to like and subscribe. But I think everyone here is already subscribed, if I had to guess. What's up, Naga Moon soon? I think Litecoin's the next altcoin to Moon. We're kind of like fooling around here. Could Moon anytime. What would be my plan if the next bear market started now? I would start trying to make money. I don't think I'd sell anything. I'd just keep it. It's tough. But I do have confidence that demand like monetary demand will increase over time. And I think there will be some catalyst to change it from this slow growing growth to more exponential adoption. So if it did start now, I would do nothing except for go back to grinding. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna get rid of taxes on cryptocurrency, especially a bull market. I mean, that's a lot of tax revenue. Yep, Jack, I think you're right. Where's Nick at? Oh, he's here. I didn't check the chat room. Alright, let me make sure. Sorry, Nick. I didn't see you in here. I gotta ask for your microphone request. Maybe he left for a sec. Anyways, I'll add him in here. Now let me... Wait, why is this thing in the corner? Oh. Oh. What the heck? Why is it like this? It says it's full screen. That's weird. Hey, Nick.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
That was my bad. I was on the wrong screen. I was sitting there waiting for the message to let you get my money.
Oh, I see. I pressed request, but I don't know if it sent you a notification. It works now, though. I can hear you. And I think they can, too. Yeah, they can.
Can you see my screen?
I could for a sec, but now it says I can't see it. It says video disabled, but I can see it like in the Ninja chat room. I just can't.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Oh, it's weird.
Okay.
I have it on my screen now. It's just tiny. Let me try to make it bigger. It's a little blurry. I don't know what happened here. One sec. Okay, maybe now it'll work. Oh no, it's giant. Okay. I think we got it. Just gotta size it down here. Okay. Yeah, we can see it now.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. So what?
Okay, sorry, give me a second.
Very good. Got XRP pulled up here.
Give me a good. Oh yeah. Does it show up? Is it blurry in your screen?
It doesn't look blurry on mine, no.
Okay. Yeah. I just had it up from earlier. It looks like it's gonna break down to the target, which is pretty much.
Yeah, it does.
It looks pretty weak. That's what's been nice for Litecoin, as it's
held
had
up
a decent
relatively
amount of
better.
relative.
Yeah. It seems like Litecoin might break out as XRP breaks down first.
I sure hope so. I mean, but honestly, this looks like a really good trade. Hang on. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second.
Oh, you're
My
good.
daughter's about to play. Give me the mic. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, XRP still looks really good, and it's like it'll probably be another impulse. And what is that? From like 250 to 850.
Mm-hmm. It's like another
I mean,
4x
I know.
move.
Yeah, I know nobody in here probably likes XRP, but it's
No,
one
it's
of the
fine.
few
Yeah.
ones that I've been able to call pretty good, and it's about to look even better. I mean, even now the risk versus reward's good, but with that drop down to say 250ish, it's going to be really nice.
Yeah. I think, like, I don't care what coins people buy. I know this market's kind of a meme. And if the chart looks good and you buy it, it's fine to me. I don't try to convince people to.
Either way.
Yeah, either way, really. I mean, I have my view and I explain it, but it doesn't bother me if someone else likes it. Whatever
Yeah.
the coin is. So yeah, maybe it does.
I don't even care what the coin does.
Yeah, I know.
For me, yeah, the chart looks good, then it
So,
looks good.
yeah, so you think it breaks down from like this descending triangle back to the 21?
Yeah, so me drawing the descending triangle, I've done this sometimes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's presumptuous at best to draw something out like this ahead of time. But for me, it usually works pretty good when the structure's there. So I kind of outlined this. I don't know if it was earlier in the week, but we kind of have this area where we're going to expect consolidation, and we've been kind of doing that. And then we have this area above where we can expect resistance, which has been fine so far. But yeah, I do think we didn't do it. It's getting slammed right now. We didn't break down before. We kind of consolidated. But likewise, I don't know. XRP, maybe it moves down fast and makes us move now, and everything runs on this next leg. But I still am waiting for that move into basically, you call it 119, before running back up to a new all-time high, before coming back down and consolidating and going. But it doesn't have to take this long. It doesn't have to take all month. It doesn't have to take till November. That's why sometimes drawing out a potential structure before it happens is useless. But either way, I still kind of expecting the same thing. So maybe we bounce now and we hold and we go. I doubt it. It looks like we're going to run down towards that lower end.
Yep.
I've been seeing people call. There's been some people I respect that are fairly accurate that have been looking for like 115-ish.
Mm-hmm.
That's so I have a support there, but I just don't see it. And that's kind of, but no one's been calling what I had mentioned before, which is basically you can go like this. Wait, hang on. Let me change this and get it bigger. No one's really been calling for this like I expected them to. Basically, kind of like an inverted head and shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, at best, I'm seeing people that I respect that have been accurate calling for it. So I guess it's a possibility. I don't know. I don't see Litecoin going that low. So that's kind of tough. Or I don't see CRV really dipping that hard. So I don't know if it's just we're in a bit of a trap here, another trap, and we only run into the 119s before pushing to a new high. You know, trapping more longs, and then coming back into that previous all-time high that we made this week, and then finally moving up.
Yeah, it does seem like it's gonna break through these recent lows. I'm sure there's a lot of like stop losses and liquidation prices around here, so we could get a quick move down to 119. But I would be in agreement with you. If this is the start of the Bitcoin's final leg, a lot of the time, or most of the time, those lower levels get front ran. So
Yeah, it gets real difficult for people to position ideally, you know, like, oh, I'm expecting this, expecting that. It usually is, like you said, it can be front ran, but I still respect some of these guys that have been accurate.
Mhm.
So I'm not like, I'll never say, oh, they're dumb to think
Yeah,
that or
for sure.
anything like that. Who knows what can happen? But that's what I'm expecting. Let's go down on a smaller time frame. And I can get rid of these dumb boxes I draw. It does work too for this structure, but this, again, I don't need to draw this either. Struggling to click on this thing.
It's all good.
That. Yeah. So what is that on the hourly? Usually works pretty well. 120. Yeah, I don't know. I figure we flush 120. We'll just call it 120. Call it 119 and change. And then we run 128, and then we come back down to hopefully say 125-ish, and then we can start our move. Let's go to Litecoin.
Yeah.
Ooh, make a candle we're in right now, huh?
Yeah. At least
But
it's
look at
holding
the
up.
relative strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's holding up a lot better. I mean, a lot of these already broke through the lows. Litecoin's still holding above them. So still got some support here. Quite a bit.
Look at that magical line right there, dude. 115.
I know, that was crazy. Nobody's really called the short-term time frames as well as you have, so these magical lines are working pretty well.
They are magical. And let's see. I don't know what I showed you in the past. On a weekly time frame, the volume weighted average price, so the VWAP based on the high of the range and the low of the range, and you can see we've been kind of bouncing in between them, and we've gotten like you could do with the Bollinger Bands or any other tool that kind of shows how stuff's constricting. I mean, look how gnarly we're getting here. And then this is the breakout. let's see. Litecoin likes to break out, or like most assets when they're being accumulated, there's multiple stages of breaking descending trend lines, and then pushing up, and then sometimes retesting, and so on, and kind of stepping up through that way. But you can see we kind of broke it. Whatever, we're still holding above it. That's the magical line right there that I've been waiting to test. And we tested it, and everything's fine. Bitcoin still looks fine, unless we obviously flush lower. But I don't see it in the charts. To me, it makes more sense that we only flush 120 before going higher. And structurally, Litecoin set up so much better than a lot of the other altcoins have been falling.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, most, a lot of those were either launched like for last cycle, or like a lot of the popular altcoins or top 40, had massive runs, and a lot of the charts look like they have so much more overhead resistance. Whereas if Litecoin breaks higher here, I don't think there's that much. It's got a lot of like, I
It
don't
has,
know,
yeah,
air
it has,
pockets.
like, I can pull up a decent amount of short-term resistance levels. Excuse me, but it's hard because it's the same predicament we're constantly in with this. But at least so far, when we look at like breaking out of the range, it's been fairly clear that we can call it the 618, about say 128 to one, somewhere in this range. It's been pretty clear, and it's been pretty clear that we're lower highs. So the descending trend line is still pretty strong on the lower highs. So I wouldn't expect that we continue in a pattern where we're going to be going up, getting rejected, coming down, retesting. A lot of this, I do think, I've said it in the past, I do think it's kind of dumb to be in a mindset where every move is going to be in the breakout. I think that's kind of negligent. But at the same time, I understand it, because if you zoom out and go on the monthly or whatever, you can just look at it and be like, this thing's going to squeeze. And when it does squeeze, it's going to squeeze hard. So it's tough. So I think that's why I don't know if I will really sell until maybe I'll take some profit up here near the previous all-time highs, the top of the range. I think it'd be dumb for me not to take some profit there. But I mean, outside of that, I do think it's smart to just be expecting that kind of parabolic move first, waiting. It's like, why do many of us hold this coin, and then are we really going to hold it this long to sell, say, like 100% pump out of this range? I
think most people are not, and I think that
right,
that oftentimes in the cycle winners, there is like this longer consolidation where a lot of weekends get shaken out, and then there's just nobody selling but incoming demand, and it like feeds on itself. So it is set up to do that. I do think most of the long-term holders, yeah, they might sell a little bit, but it's relatively tiny compared to the majors.
right. Like the volume's light. Any major liquidity coming in can absolutely set us off on a wicked run, and I think that's all we're all.
Yeah, and for me, it depends. Like, if the move is really fast, kind of like XRP, then it's not going to be as hard. If it were to, get rejected and not eventually have this massive, like, I don't know, 3-month quarterly candle, then I would reconsider. But I think what's most likely is, eventually when this breaks, that it moves pretty fast, and then it'll be easier to tell where we'll potentially top at. I think once we see how strong this major breakout is.
Yeah, I feel like we've been seeing a decent amount of coins that have somewhat similar patterns, say accumulation patterns, show us similar results. And I think majority of them aren't stopping like three quarters into the range and stopping. I don't know, actually. I didn't really.
Well, the only few coins, there's not many that looked like this. Zcash was kind of downtrending for a long time. It wasn't as compressed.
Do you know what Do you know what ticker or what exchange has the longest history for Zcash?
Yeah, I was looking at it. I think I accidentally deleted it. It might be
Is it?
Kraken. Kraken has a pretty long history.
Let's try that.
But to me, this chart looks more similar to Bitcoin Cash than it does Litecoin. Because it's like making lower lows. It's not as...
I love that chart. Honestly, I liked it so much more. For me, it was really hard for me not to go completely all in on Bitcoin Cash by how much I liked the chart. I can't even find Kraken on here. But I didn't like, and I liked the narrative because it was somewhat similar to Litecoin, but I didn't like anything else about it. Like the guy who founded it.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, like people actually using it. I didn't like any of the rest.
Yeah, my opinion, you know, but it's hard when Litecoin has a 20x lead, just knowing how monetary network effects work, right? It's such a higher utility money for people to adopt the money that, you know, is spendable at 20x more places, or that 20 times more people use, just
Right.
exponentially more valuable. And if they're basically competing for the same exact market share, speculation can drive it insane. I mean, if they have a lot of marketing, but that was always unimpressive. They have so much marketing, and they had like billionaires behind Bitcoin Cash, so Kim.com and Roger Ver, and they couldn't like affect the market. I think Roger Ver probably bought billions of dollars of BCH.
Gosh.
Exchanged all his Bitcoin for BCH.
Yeah, didn't he go to jail or something like that? Wasn't there like something
Well, he's like
sketchy with that guy?
they just claimed that he didn't pay his taxes. He exited the US in 2014, and then 10 years later they decided to go after him. That freaks me out. Uh
You did it though, right? You did pay
well,
your
yeah, I
fees.
didn't do anything. Well, he said he followed all the rules, but
Maybe it's
what's
just big government going at him because Bitcoin Cash is the best money there is out there, you know?
I think it was right after he launched his book, and he was always very critical of the US government, like dropping bombs on people, and talked a lot of said a lot of aggressive things against the US government, and then he, you know, was hated by a lot of the maximalists as well, who are pretty in tight with power. And honestly, I think that's what's scary. Is like if the people in power don't like you, they can probably find a reason to try to ruin your life. But yeah, I don't
It's
get
true.
it. Uh,
Hey,
reg-
let me take a piss break real
okay,
quick.
all right. I'll share my screen for a sec. All right, guys, getting a little bit of a bounce off the horizontal level, off these lows, but I don't know. It might just be short-term traders buying it for a quick bounce and taking profits. It does seem like decently likely that it breaks down here. Litecoin overtakes silver. Yeah, I think eventually. Like my belief has always been that, well, one, like we're in a popularity contest, and it's just like a anti-inflation trade right now. So people are buying gold and silver. I think China drove gold so high. They stocked up on it. But will people actually eventually use gold and silver as money again? I don't know. Maybe governments would hoard it and try to get people to use gold, or use it to try to back another fiat money whenever they, you know, lose total confidence. But it's hard to imagine in a digital economy people transacting in person with gold and silver coins. Like most transactions now happen online. I don't know why that would shift. And I think it just keeps trending towards e-commerce. In that situation, if you don't want to use government money, the best option is some Bitcoin chain or privacy chain. Those are the only things that can potentially actually resist government capture. So yeah, I think those price targets seem crazy now, but in 10 years, it might be actually way higher than that. What's up, Nick? You're back.
I'm back.
All
Hey,
right.
so what do you think about what Master's saying here with this? That he thinks Bitcoin topped and that all the money's going to flow to Litecoin.
Well, my thesis has always been that like Litecoin could really change the narrative if Bitcoin went into a blow off. And I thought because of macro conditions that eventually the cycle would end in a 2017 like blow off. So like I had very similar high time frame views to Credible from the beginning. I know his is more technical based, but I think in like end stage credit cycle bull markets, which I think we're in, especially for commodities or certain cryptocurrencies, like the most likely scenario is a blow off. And if Bitcoin gets that, then my Litecoin thesis I think becomes extremely probable. But I don't see how Litecoin's only grown for one sole reason: its entire existence fundamentally, and Bitcoin has such a strong narrative dominance that hasn't broken because people just look at what happened before and they think Bitcoin's the safest. That psychology will stay intact until some catalyst breaks it. And I've always thought super high fee levels and migration would break it, and then there'd be this total narrative change. So if Bitcoin topped here, that wouldn't happen. And Litecoin could still rally potentially, but it hasn't ever done that.
That would kind of go against a lot of what you think will cause the demand for
Yeah,
crazy
exactly.
prices, right?
Yeah, well, what I know, and I know people hate this because they think fundamentals don't matter at all, but it's just simple math to me. Like Bitcoin's
I think,
transacting 30 billion on
you know,
chain, 1 billion moving, which is extremely likely to go to Litecoin if fee levels are high enough, would pump the price $100 billion like in market cap overnight. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, you're good. No, I think fundamentals do matter. I just don't. I'm just not interested in finding an edge through fundamentals. I think there's like easy ones that a lot of people can see, maybe how they relate to their own personal lives or whatever. But just for me, I don't.
Yeah, it's really hard unless you're deeply interested in it. I didn't
Exactly.
really
Yeah.
even get involved in crypto to speculate at first. Uh, I was in like finance econ school, and I disagreed with a lot of the theories in the textbooks that I was reading, and then eventually found Bitcoin. Um, and then wanted to learn exactly how it worked. And then I disagreed with all the narratives that were being pushed because people just wanted their bags to go up. So I found the edge by thinking about how Bitcoin would scale. And I just thought, oh, that's the biggest opportunity in the space because to me, it's like, I don't know if you've ever watched interviews with top gamblers or top sports bettors. I watched this Joe Rogan podcast with this guy who is like the number one of the top gamblers in the world out in Las Vegas. He does sports betting. And he
Okay.
like develops his own betting lines, like his own odds based on his fundamental understanding of sports.
Yeah.
Uh, and when he bets the biggest, it's when the differential between his opinion and the line that's done by these odds makers is
Like he's looking for a big discrepancy,
yeah, biggest
yeah.
discrepancy. And that's what I figured out in college. I'm like, I thought it seems obvious, but I was like, oh, shit, like that's how you actually outperform the market, is by spotting the divergence, by like trying to understand how people saw the housing crisis beforehand.
Isn't that supposedly how Sam FTX made his original money?
I thought he was like
Was it?
arbitrage trading because he noticed
Yeah,
like,
which basically is he saw the edge in between exchanges or whatever, or I don't know if it was different exchanges, different countries, but he was arbing Bitcoin, right?
yeah,
Or
there
ETH or
used to be
whatever.
huge discrepancies in prices. I noticed that in 2017, and you just need a lot of capital and money
Right,
and
because you're
connections.
scraping a little bit off the top, so you need a ton of money to
But
be
if
able to
you
do
have a
it.
lot of volume, yeah, you can make a ton of money. Uh,
It's like what is it? Dave Portnoy recently was talking about Kraken, and he's like, "Oh, there's a 1% bonus. So if I put 5 million, I get 50,000 cash." Like, yeah, if you put 5 million in, you know what I
yeah.
mean? It's the same deal where,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was crazy though in 2017 because if someone had enough money to make it work, you could make like 1-2%, maybe a day. So like that compounds pretty fast. Uh,
yeah, it absolutely does. Yeah,
um, so that, yeah, I think that's how he made his money. But that's my understanding. Like the bigger the divergence in like narratives and expectations versus reality, as long as you're confident in your own opinion, you're like extremely sure. If you are right, then you'll make an extreme amount of money. And the only assumption I'm making is that long term, Bitcoin actually becomes monetized. And I know a lot of people disagree with that, but I think it
I think
is
the only
possible.
for me the only thing that I struggle to see is like, I'm sorry, hopefully you don't hear me burping. The only thing I struggle to see with your thesis is that people would, because that requires people operating. I'm gonna show how dumb I am, but that shows people operating like on chain, right? In order for the fees to get exponentially expensive on Bitcoin, that they're forced to migrate to Litecoin.
Yeah, I mean it's a process that almost nobody understood because I was talking about it before it even happened. And they're like, why would that ever happen? They're thinking, like, why would I, like, how could I swap if I was using Bitcoin already? You can't. Um, the process still does happen for people that rely on it, and you can look on chain and look at
It's a
fee
decent
levels
amount
and
of whales, right?
well, there's a lot of just speculative activity that's being transacted on chain, but like from my perspective, even though we think in the West in our world that people just buy coins on exchanges, there even though that's a huge percentage of what this is, there's still a
Mm-hmm.
significant amount of people relying on it. That's why transaction activity, for Litecoin stays during the bear market, even when it's like was 20, 40, $50 for so long and it kept growing. But you can imagine if you are one of those people that has no other option, like they can't use any other money. If they need to get paid, uh, and Bitcoin fees go to $100, it's like, well, we can't pay you in this. We can pay you in this other money, right? This is the most similar thing to Bitcoin. You can imagine for yourself, right? Like if your credit card wasn't working, eh, you and you had cash, or you could go get cash. You would have to do that in order to live, right? Like
Right.
people find substitutes in all markets. In money, it's hard because we've never really had this. Nobody's experienced it really in their own lives. Uh, but it's the same thing. There's a demand for a good, which in this case is money, and if it becomes too expensive to use, people are going to look for the closest thing that delivers them the same value. Uh, and the substitution trade-off is so low in crypto because these security levels are so high, you don't really get any difference in user experience or settlement times using Bitcoin or Litecoin. They're about the same for the vast majority of transactions, right? Like transactions under $1 million. It doesn't matter if you get one confirmation on Litecoin or one on Bitcoin. It's secure enough. So yeah, if that happens, and the thing about fee levels is they don't rise linearly. Usually you see these spikes. It's just a competition, a bidding war for block space. So given the fact that there's 250 million people that price exposure, if we're in like a macro fifth wave, right, inflation trade where people, you know, might want to take possession, or at least maybe a higher percentage do. Plus you have all these people that are sitting on Bitcoin that want to send it. Like 400,000 transaction slots in a day is not much considering this is a global market. And so I can imagine if there is a mania blow off, you know, like 10 million people competing for block space, and they will just keep upping their fee until they get confirmed. They're like, no, I need it today. I need my money today. Who knows how high fees can go? If you have $1 million or $10 million in Bitcoin, you'd pay $1,000 in fees. That's nothing. Uh, and if that happens, then all this transaction activity underneath would be forced somewhere else. The most likely place it goes is the same place it's been going before. It just happens on a much larger scale. And, you know, knowing that these chains are priced at roughly they send about 1% of the market cap a day. Like $2 billion migrating would send Litecoin to $200 billion market cap. Or maybe higher because the liquidity is so thin when this happens. And then the narrative changes, and then speculation. People can, you know, finally understand what Bitcoin is. They've been lying or like preaching a narrative that is so untrue, but the market will force them to understand.
You think when they understand what it is, that it's a
Well,
bullish or bearish
I think
for Bitcoin?
it just changes the mental like psychology around future values, right? Like Michael Saylor saying $13 million a coin. I think the mental model isn't just Bitcoin as BTC, but Bitcoin as multiple chains, and maybe that total aggregate, those total aggregate coins, chains, can get to 13 million. And so there'd be just a repricing of Bitcoin against. Mainly, I think it's just Litecoin. It's the only thing that has network effects and that shows um, that it's basically the second chain to be monetized. So I think just especially when it's pumping, right? It goes to $400, it's $800, and Bitcoin's uh, not moving is significant because it can't in percentage terms. The
So
reality long term to me, and the market will figure out the truth, but it has a specific limit on price. It cannot go higher. It can maintain purchasing power, but it will reach a point where it just can't accept any new demand, assuming, you know, it becomes fully monetized. Unlike gold, unlike silver, unlike dollars, Bitcoin has a inherent price limit if it's used as a money, and that's
so
what.
let's say, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, what I was gonna say is, let's say that Bitcoin moves up, but it doesn't move up, and let's say it moves up in kind of exponential, but in waves, and it's kind of more like a longer bull market, not just like this
Yeah, in that
full on.
scenario, like that's kind of what's been happening. And if
Mhm.
that happens, then yeah, they can maintain that narrative monopoly that they've had. Like that's what's helping Bitcoin get so much more in market cap relative to these other proof of work chains, because it's not like the truth isn't being revealed to the market. You need some catalyst. It's like in housing, right? Housing prices keep going up. People don't see in 0809 that anything could sink this bubble, and then interest rates rise, people default, and then everyone sees it right away. But it's different here because it would happen in a parabolic move. But even if Bitcoin kept rising like that, uh,
Would it have the same network effect? Network effect
um, or it'd
if
just
it
be
was
rising
slow.
on speculation slowly, and I think, you know, network activity
Would fees
eventually
be
would be like,
manageable?
yeah, fees would be probably kind of like they are right now. They could increase. I don't really know, but I wouldn't expect like this rapid vertical acceleration in fee levels unless, I don't know, somewhere around the world there's a financial crisis and people can't use their debit cards or bank accounts. Maybe that would spike Bitcoin demand. It happened in Cyprus in like 2013, and demand for Bitcoin went up a lot. But yeah, if we just have this slow, grindy, move higher for a long time, then we'd have to rely on speculative uh,
Interest.
interest in Litecoin to push it up. And even that's still possible, right? Just like Zcash, it didn't have any sort of fundamental demand increase and it pumped massively. So I don't rule that out. I just think it will be a crazy run to like Masters price targets if we get both.
I just can't. I can't wrap my head around that. I mean, I maybe I could, like with Litecoin, if I go max bullish scenario, I think maybe absolutely nuts. You know, say call it like 6 grand or something and change. But
Mm-hmm.
I cannot wrap my head around like the quarter. I would absolutely love it, but I don't think I could. Like
Yeah.
I said in the past, I don't think I could hold that long. I think I'd
No, I
be
don't think it would.
psychotic,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Well, it
I
depends.
think
That's
Master could
yeah, Master
and
will.
will.
Yeah, he
I
will.
think he'll never sell because I think he's even talked about basically it. I mean, to me, I'll never be like a coin maxi. Like
Mm-hmm.
I will never ever be any type of asset maxi. So whether
Yep.
it's Litecoin, whether it's Bitcoin, I know Master is a complete Litecoin maxi. So I know that like for him, he probably will never sell. It's the same thing that like I'm talking to a guy who's absolutely in love with XRP and they have the same vision of
Yeah.
basically not spending their crypto and then what is it? They basically borrow against it to get cash to spend it, which I think that alone, if a lot of people go that path, will be basically something like you can expect out of Sailor.
Yeah.
Like that's
I think
to
that's
me
so
that's not
dangerous.
realistic.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
silly. It's crazy. I know we're in
Like
a speculative, like everyone should be able to see that. I'm not a maximalist either. I just think Litecoin has the most upside. But I think given how much, like my macro view is there's so much, credit debt out there. Um, and I know that this whole industry is rising on speculation. That nets out over the long run, and there's a lot of leverage here in crypto itself that it's very vulnerable to one of the worst bear markets we've seen. So it's doing that is would have been good since like 2009 or like every bear market you just borrow money against your coins and live off that, and then it'll always it had gone to new highs because we had these reinflationary cycles, but there's I think going to be an end to that, so it's so risky. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I see like from a technical perspective, I wouldn't. It'd be hard to imagine like when just ripping to like 30K, but I know if there's a lot of things, right? Like the thing we just talked about, migration. It depends on how high fee levels get, but if we get a mania and I start to see that on-chain migration to the higher value ranges, then I know there's support. Uh, like usually what happens is when demand migrates, it never leaves, it just stays. So I'd be more confident if I started to see that. Um,
Mhm.
and then I think that if that didn't play out and we rally on speculation alone, that's why I want to see how strong this breakout is and see what happens. But I would be taking profits uh,
Yeah,
a lot sooner.
I think we have to, and I think that's something that if a lot of the people listening um, want to cash out and not regret and not be like a long term holder, um, and to not get into the wrong mindset of holding for too long, just a toxic place that I don't want any of the people watching or listening to go to, is that they have to take profits on the way up. And it's hard because I think a lot of these it's natural for all of us to have a price target in mind and to convert that to USD and then to spend that in your mind, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to
Mm,
do that. But at the end of the day, none of that's guaranteed, and the only thing guaranteed is taking profits
for
when you
sure.
have the opportunity. So I hope everyone does take profits on the way up and they're able to accept that, maybe they don't have a crystal ball, or anyone they follow doesn't have a crystal ball, and all these different expectations aren't necessarily going to be a reality. That they take profits on the way up and they're able to enjoy something out of this, and then if they're able to look at things from a non-emotional perspective, and they're able to go back and hopefully that's the thing. There's always money to be made. There's always things going up. There's always things going down. In the future, I that even if it's like, for example, when I started trading was in '08, and that was pretty much the depths of the bear, and I was trading triangle. I was drawing triangles on the chart constantly and getting faked out both ways. I was getting stopped out and then having it instantly reverse in my face. Like, there's all sorts of different market conditions that we're all going to face. And at the end of the day, like, if you even look at it from a long-term perspective, those are just accumulation. Like, for example, what I dealt with then in '08 is what a lot of people are dealing with now in Litecoin. A lot of squeezes to the upside, fake outs, people
Yeah,
chasing breakouts and getting trapped. This is just like standard stuff in accumulation patterns. And I don't know. There's a lot of money to be made in the market. You don't need to make it all in one trade. Take profits on the way up and live to keep playing the game.
for sure. Yeah, I would I would agree. Like you can't.
Because like the mentality of like, oh, I'm not selling anything. I'm gonna sell 100% maybe, or I'm gonna sell like a quarter of my percent when we hit 6,000. It's like, yeah, that's fine if you want to have that outlook, and that's okay. But you gotta realize that you may be, even if you are correct, you may be holding this asset for another 10 years before you realize those things. And again, that's fine. But I think people need to have a realistic vision of
Yeah,
of a timeline.
for sure. Yeah, it's so hard because we're in this environment where the most gains happen like right at the end, and it can get really crazy. But
And
my plan
honestly,
is, yeah, go ahead.
we're picking the asset that does that the best, right?
Yeah,
Historically,
historically, and I think this will be similar to 2013. But if we get that move, which we're waiting for, then it'll be way easier for Litecoin holders than most of these other coins. Because I think what's going to happen with a lot of the 2021 cycle winners that most people are positioned in is like this slow grind up, kind of what Litecoin and XRP saw in 2021, which trapped a lot of people because it never really
it's
broke
about,
all-time highs. But
yeah, it's
Litecoin,
been a trader's market.
yeah. But I think, let's see. I'm just gonna keep live streaming. Luckily, I've never been like relied on my technical analysis, but I've done well in the last cycle and this one with just one trade. So it's
That's I know. Well, you're actually geared towards what ideally I want to be good at, and for me, it's like I think what comes natural, or what I've spent the most time on, is short term time frame stuff.
mhm.
Um, and I do want to make more of an effort with that, but I view that as more of a job. And
Mhm.
if I'm and what I'd rather have is these gains that you had this past cycle, where you do make majority off one trade or multiple trades or whatever. I don't think I want to be so isolated that I'm only holding one asset, that I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. But at the same
Mhm.
time, I think all of us crave that ability to be able to manage that. But I think majority,
Yeah.
not saying you're not, because right now you are set up as the guy to pull a move off like that, but I think majority can't expect to be that guy. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. Yeah, unless you have to have like pretty deep conviction and have to be alone. I feel like you have to understand if you want to have the confidence to do it, maybe some people do, I don't know. But if I spent a lot of years trying to understand for myself how this market would develop, and I have my view, and like it's not based on anyone else's
Right. And that's the
analysis.
most, to me, that's the most important part. Like
Yeah.
I mean, my Twitter isn't as active as it once was or whatever, but I had someone today basically asking somewhat of a similar question, or they're saying like, hey, uh, for some reason everyone keeps asking me about telling me what BC backer
Oh
opinion
yeah.
is, or they'll ask me about different people's opinion, and I'm just like, I just don't care. I
Mhm.
can't care. Like, I think most people need to understand, if they want to develop an edge of their own, they can't depend on anyone else other than themselves. Like for me, I spent countless hours like 10 years ago or something, mainly on a lower time frame, taking notes and studying how price reacted to certain fib levels, understanding where I'm measuring the price, all these different things. But it wasn't anyone else. It wasn't like me
Mhm.
looking to make money. And trust me, like I think majority of the people would do better latching on to someone and trading.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's hard for those kind of people to identify that. And then when you get an edge, or say you ultimately have a decent understanding of the market and how the market moves or how price moves, then you can get that edge, and then it's much harder for you to want to follow anyone else.
Mhm.
So it's like a double-edged sword. But hey, I gotta go pee real quick, so I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. UV star, you're grateful that you worked enough to be able to afford something like that. Yeah. Well, this world's gonna get weird with AI and cryptocurrency. It might be a lot harder to compete. It'll be an insane opportunity, I think, for people that live in more developing countries that have access to internet and extreme work ethic and are really smart. But like prior to these technologies, they were just kind of for you know unfortunate that they were born in a certain jurisdiction. But it should open up opportunities to a lot of those people, and I think the biggest losers will probably be people who benefited the most from just being born in the U.S. or born in a place that traditionally had more opportunity. It'll be really hard for people. I think that rely on government transfer payments just because they're lucky enough to live in a place that actually has those, like unemployment benefits or welfare checks. It'd be really hard if for those people if that stuff goes away because they never develop skills to compete in the marketplace. Canary ticker is LTCC. Yeah, even in a nice place. Yeah, acting broke is a good strategy, or just being anonymous. It's not worth it. People might make fun of you, but who cares? It's usually the people that I don't know. There's like this strong desire for a lot of people to be known. I hope that people, if I do IRL streams and this does actually work, that nobody knows who I am. It's not worth it. Even Charlie Lee talked about it, right? Even if like you're really successful, if you're in public, there's just way more downsides than upside. Did I don't know, is the SEC like working even though there's a shutdown still? Price is bouncing. I mean, Bitcoin's bouncing from this low, but Litecoin's continuing to rally a bit harder. Right, it is breaking up above this resistance level against alts. It's good to see. So bouncing pretty hard. I just don't think there's many people selling. Like I think we've drained the market of sellers. These pullbacks have been more shallow. You don't know if HBAR has limited supply. I've just never been convinced by real world asset tokenization. I think it's hyped and it sounds cool because it's like, oh, there's trillions of assets that can be tokenized, but it's not like it's like the same mistake a lot of Bitcoiners make comparing a money to real estate and all the assets in the world. And they come up with these crazy high valuations. But tokenized stuff, really, if it really actually happens and everything's on a blockchain, it's really not going to be worth that much. And you still need anything physical that you put on a blockchain. It's not like securing the asset itself. It's just a credit layer. But with money, you can secure money yourself. It's natively digital. So the blockchain itself can secure it. I mean, as long as there's enough demand for the money and people willing to use it, even if it's illegal. But a lot of people focus on supply a lot, right? Like in Bitcoin, 21 million, and Litecoin as well, and people come with valuations based on supply, but I only care about demand, really, because the unique aspect of Bitcoin, that it's limited in total supply, is equally unique on the demand side too, and that there's a limited amount of demand that can come to the chain, which gives it a price limit. But almost everything is limited supply. All right, you're back, Nick.
I am back. Yeah.
Nice.
You know what I was thinking about the
Huh.
other day when you were Litecoin was topping and everybody was in the chat getting super pumped
Yeah.
about the breakout, like we all do in human nature.
Yeah.
And I was washing my car, and you were playing those music videos that you created.
Yeah.
I was busting up laughing because I was just imagining, because I felt like a little bit of what potentially you could say that we all feel, which is kind of like a little bit of euphoria. You know? And I was just like, I saw the vision. I finally saw your vision.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, had a hard time at first. I knew everyone would dismiss it, but I was imagining when I was making it. I was
impressed.
for that.
Like, that was when I realized. Like, I've always, I've been impressed with you or whatever, but that was when I was like, this guy's got a vision, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. I know what it feels like. It's hard to always like imagine it beforehand, but I know what manias feel like, and I know people won't rationally make decisions, and people could get pumped, right? If the fundamental thesis and idea is correct, and it happens. And I have a lot of stuff that I haven't released. If I release it during that time, or I have it playing, like I have like 10 hours of stuff.
10 hours of stuff?
Yeah, it can. I think it can do really well because I wanted enough so that it wouldn't get boring, and I basically spent like 9 months in the dark creating this all day.
Whoa.
But
Were you with your girlfriend at the time?
Yeah, I was just
You must
working
have
on it
made
all
a
day.
decent amount of change on your one big move. Because I think I remember I listened to your live stream once, and you were saying that that basically you had saved forever, like
Yeah.
almost like 100% of what you're earning for a certain amount of years or whatever, and then I don't know if you went all in or whatever, because that was a big move, but
Yeah, I didn't go all in on the. I wish I had a bigger position, but I did. Yeah, did make enough to pay for living expenses probably for like 6, 7, 8. I don't know. I don't want to say too much, but yeah, yeah, it was good enough to let me experiment with this. I wouldn't want to like drain my savings because I've always saved since I was like 16.
You ever go over that kind of stuff with the people that follow you, like how much you're actually exposed or anything like that? Because I feel like that's a big thing for people to come to terms with, for even the people that they're looking up to, is like how much of your bag I feel like that's something that's under discussed by everyone in the space. It's like how much of their bag they're actually trading, or how much they have to an emergency fund, or how much they have diversified into different assets. Like, I feel like a lot of people, including me at times, were just more like idealistic to the point where they're like want to be all in one asset, and then over leveraging. Like, I was reading the chat earlier, and I'm sure the guy was joking, but he was just like, my grandma's in some type of living home, or I'm thinking about pushing my grandma into a living home and selling her house and alling in Litecoin, because people joke like that, but there is legit people that get hyped to that point.
Oh yeah, well, like Sailor was telling people to more leverage their homes at the top last cycle. I know even those guys do it, and it always happens. It's like hard to contain what people will do, even if you told them no, right? Like everyone was telling Charlie he was an idiot when he was selling in 2017, and he was warning people about bear market, and they all just didn't listen to him.
That was tough. Last bull run, for anyone that thinks I know anything, the last top, I was absolutely peaking on like my engagement on Twitter by bull posting virtually like more than halfway down. So I completely got me, but I've gotten a lot better. I look at the markets in a more refined way. But like for me, like I know how to get engagement on Twitter, and it's no one should follow those guys that are like. There's some guys that get a ton of engagement that absolutely are worth it, but uh, in order to get engagement on Twitter, it's basically just telling the majority what they want to hear, and it's
Yeah.
I wasn't intentionally doing it.
Yeah.
I was just deep in the game of just fully believing or whatever, and
Mhm.
um, it's just it could be scary for
Yeah.
a lot of the people looking for other people for advice.
Yeah. People. I think a lot of people just assume follower count means equals like credibility, but
Yeah, or knowledge or whatever.
a lot of the time it's not
A lot of people don't have the full
true.
history on a lot of these people because I learned that way from not being in the space for too long. Say like 2021 or whatever, I think is when I got in, or 20, I don't know what year I got in. But I thought all sorts of different people were credible. I remember I really looked up to Tech Dev, and I used to message him. And there's certain guys I used to message all the time, like trying to learn from them or like be a mentor from them. But if you're around the space long enough, you'll learn maybe a little bit about how these people actually are, and you actually learn like you follow someone for long enough, you'll learn their tendencies, like how accurate they are when they tend to not be accurate, what time frame they're actually accurate on and
Mhm.
whatnot. So I advise anyone listening that they do their due diligence, and then they fully before they put an ounce or a dollar or whatever, just like they wouldn't listen to some random guy. That's the thing, though. I guess that works perfectly. Like you see a guy yelling in the street from a microphone, but he's got a big crowd, then they put credibility on him. So
That's
I can't even do a good analogy.
no. It's hard in crypto because it's really a popularity contest, and a lot of the people end up following people just because they'll shill some coin, and then more people will say the same thing, and everyone will buy it. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Uh, I don't know. Yeah, this space will change a lot, and yeah, I guess it just at the end of the day, you gotta have your own viewpoint. 'Cause nobody will really care if you make money or lose money except yourself.
It's true. Yeah, and no one knows what you have on the line other than you.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be somewhat responsible. But to get back to the chart here,
Yeah.
I charted Bitcoin dominance, which I normally haven't done in a long time.
Mhm.
And it looks like something that we may see. I don't know. I'd have to sit here and kind of think about how the markets would react to this. But basically, I just charting what I see is it looks like we're in. For me, it's really hard to analyze this. I did before, and my one chart was basically based on this small little pattern in 2016 leading to 2017 because I saw the most similarities between, if you believe it or not, the current cycle in Bitcoin to 2016, 2017. But my viewpoint has changed on that because time has proved me wrong and proved a lot of the guys wrong. But anyways, it to me again, I think I actually looked at, I don't know, it was Bitcoin, no, it was Litecoin, a Litecoin chart where I showed the most relevance, or I guess like if I'm looking at a period of time where it looks similar now, it'd be 2020, and it's the easiest way for me to get a full structure versus 2016 or 2017, and more honest price action. And it looks the same to me then. Like, say, even how dumb this is, a lot of people would use an indicator on LMACD or whatever, but I don't care. I do whatever. And
Mhm.
for LMACD here, it looks like we got a. Hang on, I'm sorry. My dog's
You're
freaking
good.
out about something. Let me take one.
Or I'll share my screen until Nick gets back. See, pivotal moment here. Keeps getting rejected by this like 120 level. Or I'll share my screen until Nick gets back. Whoops, I have my stream pulled up. My bad, guys. What'd you post, Master? Once LTC turns vertical. Yeah, true. What the heck? My screen shut off. Yeah, pretty low volume so far. And we'll see. Maybe Bitcoin can rally from here, but if it fails, it's probably going to break these lows. But at least relatively, Litecoin's showing some strength for now. But just contained right at this level of resistance. Litecoin's the fiat off ramp. Litecoin's the speculative play because very few own it. And a lot of people may want to own it when they realize if there's a catalyst for them to realize the upper limits on Bitcoin. Starship's next launch is on 10/13. Well, that's 4 days. That would be interesting coincidence. It's Litecoin's official birthday. But it's kind of lining up like that. If we do actually break out on that day, that'd be be crazy. Then everyone would believe the theories that you have, Master, around Elon. Actually go mainstream. Yeah, it was officially, I think they always say it's on the 13th. I think the Genesis block was mined like 4 days before. Yeah, Litecoin does have a good narrative. It's actually supported by, it's good narrative because it's true. True narratives are the best when the whole market dismisses the reality. Sometimes things move just on false narratives, like Bitcoin now. I think for XRP, for Cardano, for a lot of these things. All right, Nick. What's
All right, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
What happened was my daughter, their school went over like what to do in case of a fire. And my daughter's been freaked out the past 2 nights, thinking the house is gonna burn down every night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, she's 6, but she's freaked out, thinking the house is gonna catch fire every night. So the past couple nights, it's been impossible. Like, we've been sleeping in the living room, switching back and forth the past 2 nights, and tonight, you know, she needs to do it on her own, so she's a little scared. So
Oh, I see.
Go back and forth.
Yeah, it's hard. When I was a little kid, I was scared of someone murdering me because I watched Scream at like 5 years old.
My uncle made me watch Chucky at around the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I understand it, but it's a weird balancing act.
Yeah, for sure. It's tough. Alright, so we're talking about Bitcoin dominance. You think the similar 2020 structure might play out? You're looking at LMACD.
So when we were talking, I went over this, or I was looking at this, and we had a similar crossover at oversold levels, but it lines up that they're higher oversold levels based on the ascending channel that we're in. And you can see when we had a crossover, we had basically a retest to those highs before breaking down. And I could say similarly, like right now, especially with this green candle, we're probably in a similar setup where we could say run up to 66 again. And I don't know what that is. Like, I guess, I don't know if that's a big sell-off that we're about to get or whatever. It looks like we could potentially get a double tap, or say at best a move into, say, the support band before retracing and hopefully dumping. But I'd say right now is our best bet, considering we're in the middle of this trend, in the middle of this channel. I would think we could at least get a retest here. And so maybe that means Bitcoin pulling back. Maybe that means sideways chop that hits more alts. Like, we could say that we're looking at certain alts, say like XRP, that hold a high percentage of Bitcoin's dominance or against it. If say XRP takes this dip lower and Bitcoin runs just slightly lower or trades sideways, maybe we can get a bump up in dominance, and this retest could just basically be for a handful of alts, and then maybe the ones that are shining through that are the ones that we get the best move outside of this, because that's something common you'll read. Basically, a lot of people say, like, pay attention to what's holding the most relative strength, especially if it's before a dip, before like an all-time high, or a consolidation before an all-time high. Pay attention to who's holding the most relative strength. And fortunately, you can say like right now, Bitcoin is at a point where it's got a lot of open air above it, and we're basically we hit a short-term resistance above it, but outside of that, if we inverse it, the floor is about to fall out from us. You say the fact that Litecoin is one of the coins that's showing such relative strength right now in comparison to a lot of alts. We could say basically like even if we do get more of a dip or more of a consolidation, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to affect Litecoin. So I think ultimately we look good where we're at. In looking at Bitcoin dominance, it looks like we might surge up in dominance, and I don't know if that means Bitcoin is about to break out and that's what's going to keep the dominance while most alts kind of stay sidelined, or whether it's Bitcoin has a retracement, and then a lot of alts retrace. But overall, I think we're fortunate enough holding Litecoin that we're showing a decent amount of relative strength right now in comparison to a lot of different coins.
For sure. Yeah, I haven't actually heard a lot of people mention that recently. Like, it was popular, but now since are people talking about, like, noticing the altcoins that are holding up right now? I haven't seen that, but I remember seeing
I
it.
saw one post on it,
Oh,
but
okay.
I also like to say, like, I try not to put too much emphasis in, like, a lot of people will say, like, oh, everyone's saying this, let's do the opposite, do this, I feel like I have a pretty curated feed, and then on top of that, I made a list of even a tighter feed of lots of guys that I follow, that are basically good at reading price action, or they have their own specific edge. Only one of the guys that says something like that right now, so I don't think a lot of people are saying that.
Well, I think it might be in general decent advice. It does make sense. I mean, probably the things that are holding up the best.
Oh, I've noticed it.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part for most people is when they receive that advice, they don't want to hear it.
True.
That's usually the case with me. Like, you're looking around and you're seeing like the relative strength of different coins, and you're like, my coin's not one of them. I don't want to believe it or whatever. And I think that's, for me at least, with my own experience, when some of these guys that I respect have posted something like that, which they usually are absolutely at the times when you should be paying attention to, because it basically says like, it's just conviction in short-term holders. You're just showing the conviction in short-term holders. So you can say in like basically like the ones that are holding their value and not retracing as hard as the other coins, or say even they're stronger than the leader, which is Bitcoin, that those holders are convicted enough that they're not bothered with any sort of retracement. So when we get any type of movement up, it can even be outside of whatever it's being measured against, like Bitcoin. So like you can get a parabolic move outside of Bitcoin, but generally I feel like they're mainly meme coins that do that, but it's possible on different coins to do it at different times.
Yeah, like Zcash here recently.
Yeah, so I think you can't say anything permanently. You can say you have better odds.
Yeah.
Of it being a retracement towards your coin because you're just being smart by saying that. But Litecoin's showing good relative strength versus the other coins, so it's showing that people have good conviction, and that's also showing that people, probably a decent amount of the holders, enough to affect the relative strength, are probably looking forward towards some type of result with the ETF in a positive manner. Because when we look at it, we've had only 2 approvals, right? We've had Bitcoin and we've had ETH for a spot ETF.
Yeah, and I was looking at HBAR too, because it was supposed to get an ETF around the same time as Litecoin, and it just doesn't look good at all, that chart of HBAR.
That's funny, yeah. I looked at the same, because that would seem to be the one discussed with Litecoin, at least by the experts on Twitter that seem to follow ETFs closely enough. They said the same thing, that it was Litecoin and HBAR, but HBAR looks very weak. So to me, it looks like, and something I've always believed in. It's something that I used to. Did you ever see the video of Gary Gensler back in the day discussing? I think might have been actually in a college course, because he's teaching a college course regarding crypto. But he discussed like basically what the true commodities are, and he mentioned Bitcoin, ETH, and Litecoin, and he didn't.
I think I remember that.
But that was, I think I even asked Master for that clip because I think back in the day, I think he had it, he saved it and sent it to me. But I do think Litecoin will be the number 3 to go. And I think it is the number 3. Like if you look at CNBC and you look at the tickers, I don't know anymore, but it used to be that way. If you look at the tickers listed,
I think it still is. Yeah, they might have XRP on there, but
which is fair. It's
yeah.
one of the leaders on the market cap too, and it is what it is. But XRP is another one of what we're looking for basically, and that's relative strength. And XRP has been showing, even though it looks weak on the very, very small time frame, like people are like thinking that it's impending doom because it might stop them out on their leverage trades or whatever it is. Like XRP has showed relative strength to the whole market, you know. And to me, it was actually, I did a post about it, and it was like XRP had hit my target, and I was like, that maybe that's it. Maybe that's the bottom of the market, and that was the bottom of the big flush that we had recently. And basically, you could potentially be optimistic in saying like Litecoin is that relative strength now, especially with XRP having a little bit more to go down. We could be that move, and then that next leg that we got after, we could be that point in XRP. You know what I mean? So I'm optimistic in the fact that I've wanted to say it. I've wanted to celebrate every little run we've had, but I think this recent run and this recent relative strength would be, for me, enough tell that I'm excited. I'm finally excited, and I think that we could expect a double up at like the lower end, and possibly you know, a 2x from here, so, or a 300% gain from here. So I'm finally excited. When I look at Bitcoin, the Bitcoin chart, I'm excited even more. Like a Litecoin, it looks phenomenal. It looks like I want to take my other positions and funnel them into this. I'm excited for the next month or two. I'm excited for Q4 for Litecoin, and I think that I'd say majority aren't, and I'd say majority are offsides on it. So that gives us the hope that it could be more than 2x or 3x. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
Could run the previous high.
Well, it's good. That's the first time. Well, I guess you're like over the last week or two. After that,
when I started saying over and over, or like Litecoin to the moon, is when
when you
this recent time when you're playing that music and I got pumped. I was like, all right, I can see.
I hope more people feel that. We haven't really had any sort of spotlight on Litecoin at all yet, but I think it'll come. I want to be prepared for that. Hopefully I can hopefully it resonates broadly. I don't know yet. We just tested on a small audience, but at least you saw it a bit. But it's like we have only gotten small moves, so the emotion should be a lot stronger once this finally goes. And then I'm hoping I can capture those people and explain to them this fundamental idea. That's the goal. And then I know word of mouth spreads pretty fast. If everyone's talking about Litecoin because it's moving, 100, 200%, and they find my stream, I was hoping to have the network effects so that I would capture the majority of the new people, because once you have those initial network effects, then YouTube just pushes your live stream, and it's hard not to find it. So we'll see if that comes true, but it's exciting. It's gonna be a party in here.
I'm excited for what it's gonna look like too. I think it's been long overdue.
Yeah, and maybe these lows actually hold. Bitcoin's rallying a bit, and Litecoin again is showing strength.
It's like I go through different periods where I feel like I have a pretty good read, and right now I'd say
probability is down.
Good read where I'm not too overly confident, and I'm looking at it from a pretty logical standpoint. But you know, I know the risks, and I know that this is virtually like a cursed asset where everyone's anticipating the breakout and just gets burned. So, but I mean, at the same time, it's like we got to know what game we're playing, and if we're long-term holders of this in particular asset, like you know, the game is basically to trade sideways to the point of despair before we get just a massive chase.
Yeah.
So I think everyone's got to kind of look at that and ground themselves, and it's virtually what could potentially be. It's like it's not an all or nothing. I mean, it's a pretty stable asset compared to most of the crypto market, but we got to know that how it moves historically and what the payout is and why we all hold it because of these extreme moves that it could potentially have. And it's not easy to hold it, and it won't be like if you look at that type of like long-term chart and you look at it like, oh well, it's just easy, you just buy down here and you hold. You got to kind of keep that same viewpoint of why you initially bought it, and you can't get too hyped.
Yeah.
You just basically have to hold out and wait for your plan to play out.
For sure. Yeah, we have enough evidence of nothing's ever for sure, but from on-chain and the technical indicators I use, like on-balance volume and CMF, this is all points towards accumulation. If the Bitcoin chart looks bullish, then the odds that this is going to break out are extremely high. I think on the high time frame chart for Litecoin, like it's the retracement after these recent highs has been more shallow, so that looks pretty good. Relative strength against the rest of the market. And we're just at the point that we'd expect this finally to go if Bitcoin can move higher. So I'm probably gonna head to sleep here soon, unless you wanted to show anything else, Nick.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
My daughter's still. I gotta
go take care of that.
Talk to her. Yeah. So I'm good too.
Okay. All right. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you always coming on
man.
here.
It's good being on.
All right. I'll I'll talk to you like within a week or sooner, whenever you want.
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay. All right. Well, have a good night. I'll see you later.
All right, man. Later.
All right, bye. All right, guys. Well, I'm probably gonna head to bed. Was it good stream? I feel like. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see. Yeah, actually, I do think. I kind of think Nick's short-term idea is going to be correct. This bounces a little bit. Comes down. Scares everyone. Expecting much lower. And then rips higher. I think the move out of this. You know, this is an extremely aggressive move. The next one might be more aggressive. Finally, that should be enough. I mean, if Bitcoin's rallying, Litecoin has an ETF. It's showing relative strength, going sideways forever. We just need that, like, enough marginal buy pressure to push it above these levels where there's not much selling until significantly higher. We'll see, but looks good. 120 is needed. I need the 120 song. Yeah. I was gonna play that on repeat, but I gotta go now, guys. 120 song tomorrow, unless we clear it. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good sleep. Rest well. Tomorrow's Friday. Peace out.